It's time for our weekly Vet Review. Now, this is a current photo of Seven, okay? So he's hanging out at UT in his little bit of recovery after his, little surgery. He's gonna come home here soon, so we're very excited for him to come home. But until then, we are starting a new series. So if you don't know, since we have formed a relationship with the University of Tennessee Knoxville Veterinary Hospital, since Seven stayed there for so long and they helped him basically stay alive, we have made it a mission to continue education. And one of the things a lot of you asked about was colic. So this is a large topic. This isn't something we can talk about for 2 minutes and cover. So this is the part 1 of the colic series, and I'm going to give it over to Dr. Katie Powell. She is going to talk about colic in the field, and then y'all can let us know your questions at the end.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katie Powell. I'm with the University of Tennessee Equine Field Service Department, and today we're going to talk about colic, specifically in the field, and when should we bring them into the hospital. So, biggest thing, colic is one of the most scary words we hear, especially from for us who own horses and for horse owners. So, what is colic? Colic is a very broad term. It just means any kind of visceral pain, so any kind of stomach pain, and there can be a million different causes to it. You know, the first common signs that you might see is you come in and you see that your horse has been rolling, and not just the fun roll, they get up and then they shake. They go up and down multiple different times. Sometimes they'll stretch out, like if they're trying to pee but no pee is coming out. They'll flank watch, so look at their belly. They'll sometimes kick their abdomen. So different signs like that can be for colic can cause. So what is causing your horse's colic sometimes can be hard to determine, but the best thing you can do if you see those colic signs would be call your veterinarian. A lot of times, a lot of horse owners have the very common NSAID called Banamine, which is what we tell you to give when you see those signs. But the big reason you need to call your vet first is so we can have it on our radar, because we might be an hour south or north or very far from you. So getting it on our idea of knowing that it is happening, so we can start making mindset of we might need to start heading out your way if the colic is getting worse. And then to know when to administer your Banamine. So a lot of times with Banamine, it can cause, if the horse is having a fever, it can reduce your fever. So we like to know what temperature your horse has, because fevers of unknown origin can cause colic signs. So we definitely, it's really important to take that vital, so we have a better idea of what could be going on with your horse. So what happens when we get there? Our hope is that the Banamine, if you did give it, the horse is feeling better, but if not, what do we do next? So we first do our physical exam, so seeing if the horse has gut sounds. The biggest thing is, what is our horse's heart rate? Heart rate really determines how painful a horse can be. The higher the heart rate, the more likely the horse is more painful. So normal heart rate for horses is around 32 beats per minute. So some horses, when I arrive at colic, they can be around the 40s, and I've had horses all the way in the hundreds. So it's definitely really important to know where we're at. It's great if a horse owner knows how to take that vital sign, but that's okay if you don't. The biggest thing is when you see your horse start colicking, you start walking that horse and you give us a call. So once we determine where do we go next, usually we like to sedate your horse to go ahead and give it some pain relief. If they haven't received Banamine, we'll go ahead and give it Banamine. Sometimes we also administer a medication called Buscopan too, to help with the stomach cramping. Just depends on what exactly is happening with your horse. So after we do that, we like to perform a rectal exam, and that gives us a better idea of, is there a part of the intestines that are out of place? Do we feel an intestine that feels bigger than it should? Do we possibly feel an impaction? Now, mind you, our arm is only this long, and there is a lot of intestines in that horse, so we can only feel so much. But the biggest thing, like I tell all of our vet students, is how well are we controlling that horse's pain? So after we do our rectal and we get an idea, then the next step is to tube your horse through that big long tube, which we'll go ahead and show you. So this is our NG tube, which stands for our nasogastric tube. So what this does is we place it through your horse's nose and it goes all the way down into their stomach. You can see how long that is. And what that does is, because our horses can't vomit, we have to see if they need to vomit. And what we call that net reflux. So if they're refluxing, that can give us an indicator of how bad this colic could potentially be. It can relieve gas out of the stomach. We can also give them oral fluids, especially if they are having an impaction. So it just gives us a good idea of what could be happening. After we do that, then we just see how your horse wakes up. Are they painful still? Are they still trying to go down and roll? Are they comfortable? I sometimes call it the eat test when I give them some grass. If they have a will to eat, they usually have a will to live. So now, when do we decide what is the next best steps for your horse? Is if we still can't get them comfortable after sedating them and doing our workup. And then we have, a big decision of, do we refer into the hospital? And we'll talk about that in a later part of our series about what happens if you refer. Now, I think a lot of people's misconception is referring automatically means they might be having surgery, and that's not true. There's a lot of stuff they can do in the hospital that I can't do out in the field, like give fluids, give better pain medications through an IV line, and a ton of monitoring. So it is super important to also make sure you have access to a trailer in case of emergencies like this. So hopefully you don't have to see us out for colic, but we're always here to help.
I hope you enjoyed that. Again, let us know what else you would like to know about. Stay tuned for the next segment about colic. Let us know your own experiences with colic. I've had my own experiences with it, and I just know being more educated about it, knowing what to do and when to call a vet helps so much. So thank you to Dr. Katie Powell. Thank you to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. We are super excited for Seven to come home soon. Let me know what you think.